Hello.
Good to see you.
See, I met this guy Joshua. You know where I met him? I met him at the DAP in Palm Springs. He's not
Good
from
morning,
Riverside
everybody.
County, but
It's about 10 a.m.
he was there
I'll
doing
let
that
our
outreach.
Madam Chair, get the meeting started whenever she's ready. But as we join, just please remember to put your name and organization in the chat box if you're able, just for attendance purposes. We will be recording, and also just mute your microphones unless you're speaking. Thank you so much.
So did you want to go ahead and get started, Josh? Hey, Mike Phillips.
I think let's give it 1 or 2 more minutes, just because I think I see some people still trickling in.
Hey, Angela. I can't see all of your faces, so you'll have to forgive me.
Yeah, I'll text him right now.
Okay, and then if I don't get a key from him, like I said, I
see Linda. Hey, Roman. Good to see you, sir.
Hey, Dinko. Haven't seen you in a while.
Hey, how you doing? Good to see you. Excellent. I'm back in another role.
Are you at CBU? I see you wearing a CBU shirt.
Yeah, so my day job is CBU. So I'm working in the safety department. So assistant director of safety services over here after I left Riverside Police Department. So it's right here in town. So I'm close by. But obviously I'm here as a representative of the city of Eastville, as the Eastville City Council member.
Oh, nice.
Well, glad to have you here representing Eastville.
Yeah. Thank you. I should probably change my title so people know who I'm representing here.
You're probably on there, but there's too many people.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Hi, good morning, people. This is Ann from Project Touch. Can you hear me?
Yes, good morning.
Okay, good. This is my first time doing this with you guys, so.
Welcome. We're so glad to have you.
I think, I hope I did everything right. I've got my mute, unmute ready to go. Oh, camera, that's what I gotta do. Okay, hold on. There it is. I'm not a techie, I am not. Now am I on?
Yeah, we can see you. Welcome, man.
Okay, great. Good. I'm not sure. Good to meet all of you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, there you are. Hello.
All right, Madam Chair, I think we can get started whenever you're ready.
Hey.
Thanks.
Oh, let me share the PowerPoint. That might help a little bit, huh?
And I see our lovely Madam Vice Chair. Hello, Michelle.
Good morning, everybody.
Okay, there we go. Good morning, Continuum of Care. How are you guys doing today? Just want to welcome you to our November 16th meeting today. I want to thank you all for being so flexible for us to move the meeting to today, especially in the month of November. I know that you guys are all crazy insane busy between now and the end of the year with all the great work that you guys do. I know it's hard with scheduling, so we just want you to know we appreciate that you were able to be flexible to join us today. And before we jump into the meeting, given the fact that next week is Thanksgiving, I just wanted to take a moment to express my sincere gratitude and thanks to each and every one of you for the awesome work that you do. You all play such a key role in transforming lives across this, 7,303 mile county in Riverside County, and improving the community. And the work is hard, and long hours, but the rewards are great. And so I just want you to know how thankful I am. And on behalf of all the team at HWS, all of us would just like to say thank you to each and every one of you. So with that, let's go ahead and jump into the meeting, Josh. And turn the floor over to Josh to take roll call.
Thank you, Karen. Let me just pull up my attendance list. And just a reminder, for those of you who have not attended, a roll call is of the Continuum of Care voting members. To become a voting member, you have to attend 3 consecutive CoC meetings. If you are a member, again, I do pull the attendance from Microsoft Teams, but it does help just putting your name and organization in the chat, just to make sure that you're present. And if you're not able to do so, feel free to send us an email at coc@rivco.org, and I would be more than happy to catch up and make sure I get your attendance. So we'll start with the voting members. Alternatives to domestic violence.
Here.
Brilliant Corners.
Here.
Caches. Gene Ashton, are you here? CityNet. City of Banning.
Here.
Thank you, Roman. City of Eastvale. I believe that's Christian here, right?
Christian Dinko, yeah, DINCO.
Very nice to meet you. I'm going to catch up with you after this too, and nice proper introduction and make sure I get you here as a representative. City of Hemet.
Linda Krupa is here.
Thank you.
Veronica.
Welcome, Linda. City of Lake Elsinore. City of Menifee.
Good morning, Edna here.
Thank you, Edna. City of Marina Valley. City of
Present.
Marietta. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Was that someone from City of Marina Valley?
Yes, Ashley Aparicio. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley. City of Marietta. City of Harupa Valley.
Yes, good morning.
Amy.
City of Paris.
Hello, good morning. Present.
Is that Michelle or Sarah? Sorry.
Sorry, this is Carla. I'm stepping in for
Carla.
Sarah.
Oh,
Carla
excellent.
Lopez. Yeah. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Absolutely. All right. City of Riverside.
Michelle Davis present, and we also have Larissa Villarreal with us.
Thank you so much. Looking forward to your presentation in a few minutes. City of San Jacinto.
Robin here. Good morning.
Good morning, Robin. Coachella Valley Association of Governments.
Here. Stephanie Shambo here.
Thank you, Stephanie. Coachella Valley Rescue Mission. Anyone from CBRM? Community Health Association Inland Southern Region. Corona Norco Region.
Here.
Thanks, Karen. Department of Public Social Services.
Good morning. This is Linda Salas.
Thank you, Linda. I think I saw Tony on here too. Just Desert AIDS Project.
Good morning here.
Good morning,
Hi,
Monica.
Josh.
Hello. Desert Healthcare District.
Morning, Donna Craig.
Thank you, Donna. Faith in Action of the San Gorgonio Pass. Family Promise of Riverside. Foothill AIDS Project. High Expectations Development Corporation.
Nikisha High and Marcus Robinson are here.
Thank you, Nikisha and Marcus. Inland Empire Harm Reduction. IEHP.
Good morning, Ben present.
Ben, welcome. Nice to see you. Jewish Family Services.
Mike Phillips.
Hi, this is Becky.
Oh, hey, Becky, too.
Thank you, Becky. And Mike
both of
Phillips.
us.
I'll make sure I get you here. Labor of Love. Kim, are you here?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Lake Elsinore Unified School District. Lighthouse Social Service Centers.
I'm here. It's Brandon Gomez.
Thank you, Brandon.
Mhm.
Lutheran Social Services. Martha's Village and Kitchen.
Linda Barak here.
Thank you, Linda. Nice to see you. Mary Erickson Community Housing. Mercy House. I think I saw Robin here. I'll double check when I go through the attendees. Molina Healthcare.
Hi, this is Nita Allen-Godden. And actually Robin is with us with at Molina, so if
There we go.
I'm one as well.
Just one sell off. Operation Safe House.
Good morning, Rainbow Marlar standing in for Sandra Dunn.
Oh, welcome, Rainbow. Nice to see you again.
You too.
I'll follow up with you after this to just make sure I get a proxy letter too. Path of Life Ministries.
Chris Oberg and Leonard Jarman.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Leonard. QueerWorks.
Jacob here.
Thank you, Jacob. Riverside Community College District.
This is Chris here.
Welcome, Chris. Riverside County Hop Team. I know Julia and Julian sometimes drop in on the chat. I'll check for them. Riverside University Health System Behavior Health.
Present.
Present.
Thank you, Marcus. Riverside University School District. Romoland School District. Shelter from the Storm.
Hi, good morning. It's Angelina Co. And also you have Eddie Estrada as one of our, then not one of our people.
Yeah, I'm noticing that I think all my my proxies got shifted up a cell or shifted down a cell. My apologies, everyone.
No problem. Well, good morning, everyone. I'm here. It's Angelina.
Thanks, Angelina.
You're welcome.
Step up on second. Transgender Health and Wellness Center. Current Behavioral Health Services.
Franco present. And Mike Hester, too.
Thank you. United Way of the Inland Valleys.
Good morning. Danielle and Rebecca are here.
Thank you so much, Danielle. US Vets.
Here, Nicole present.
Thank you, Nicole. DA Loma Linda.
Morning, Oscar here.
Morning, Oscar. And Valley Restart. All right. We do have a quorum. And again, if I didn't call your name, you're still a CoC member. Very likely just don't have voting rights yet. I know there are quite a few agencies who are right on the cusp. And I think today's attendance will make 3 meetings. So during our next meeting, we'll have a few more voting members. But thank you all. And I'll pass it back over to Karen.
Thank you. For some reason, the screen disappeared on my, oh, there it goes. Okay, great. Okay, I think the next agenda item is 1.2 new members. So at this time, I would love to be able to welcome the following new members. And if you're here, just give a shout out. So First Serve Foundation, Aaron and Elena, are you here? And then also the Banning Police Department, Officer Hubert, it was great to talk to you last night. Hope you're here this morning. And then Equus, looks like we have Adrian and Heather.
Good morning,
So,
I'm here. It's Heather.
good morning.
Thank
We're so
you.
happy to have you guys. We always want to do everything that we can to continue to expand the membership of the Continuum of Care and make it as diverse as possible to have collaboration and support for many different public and private stakeholders. So we are thrilled to have you. We don't have any new voting members, but you heard Josh tell you if you're not a voting member yet, you just need to attend 3 consecutive meetings and work with Josh or the staff at HWS, and they can get you set up to become a voting member for your agency. So with that, we can go ahead and move to the next agenda item. We're going to go ahead and consider the consent items in one motion for consent item number 2. There are 2 consent items. The first is the September 28th Continuum of Care meeting minutes approval. And the second is, of course, the regular adoption of the resolution that we need to continue to comply with the Brown Act for remote teleconferencing. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda item?
This is Angelina Co. I motion.
Thank you,
Second.
Angelina. Who was the second?
Marcus.
Marcus, thank you. Any opposed or abstain? Hearing none, the item passes. Let's go ahead and move on to the next agenda item. At this time, members of the public can address the continuum of care for agenda items that are not on agenda. You have up to 3 minutes to give public comment. Do we have anybody that would like to make a public comment or announcement? The floor is open. Raise your hand. Michelle.
I just want to do a reminder, the CoC on the Riverside Ending Homelessness Fund behalf had sent out a community grant opportunity for $20,000. There was a cover sheet letter with the application mailed out, and the funding guidelines are the organization or service for which funds are sought for must be located anywhere in the county of Riverside, and the program or activity must reduce homelessness and promote community-wide interest and concern for the homeless. The application deadline is fast approaching, November 21st. So I will try to, if you need additional information, I'll put the email address in the chat box if anybody has any further questions on that grant opportunity. Thank you.
Wonderful. Marcus.
Good morning. Thanks, Madam Chair and members of the committee. I just wanted to share an announcement about the longest night. Most of you are probably familiar with this event. This is Homeless Persons Memorial Day. It's celebrated annually on or about December 21st, which is the day of the year with the shortest day and therefore the longest night. And it's meant as a memorial to remember all those who have lost their lives during the year while homeless. So Housing and Workforce Solutions and Behavioral Health have been working together on planning an event. City of Riverside has been a partner, and a number of other organizations. This is still a draft flyer, but we hope to get a finalized version sent out soon. I do know there's going to be a couple planning meetings between now and then. I will put an email in the chat of Kim Samberson. She's the representative from Behavioral Health that's leading planning on our side. And so we're certainly eager for participation from many of the nonprofits and other organizations that would like to participate. This event in particular will be in Riverside, but I know other organizations may be planning other events throughout the county. And we certainly don't want to compete with any of those, but just wanted to share this information in case any of your organizations would like to help be part of planning, simply help attend. Historically, what we found with these events is that a lot of the attendees are staff of organizations, and I think that's important to, from a staff level, honor and commemorate both those who have passed away, as well as to take a moment of space for the impact that this work has on our staff as we work with clients and serve them and invest in them, and ultimately some people pass away. I think this is important to take that moment of remembrance. But also we really want these events to be attended by our homeless community as well. So that would be the other takeaway that I would hope people would think about is, regardless of what your organization does, if you serve homeless, please think about bringing clients to this event. And we'd love to get a head count in advance so we have some expectations about how much food to order. So thank you for letting me share that. I'm happy to take any questions.
Any questions for Marcus?
Do we need to RSVP to the event?
That's a good question. I'm going to say no, because we want people to come. But certainly if you're bringing a crowd and are hoping that that crowd can eat, then yes, it would be really helpful to know. But no, we want the barrier to be as low as possible, and we just want people to show up and commemorate. Typically, and I think that this will be the case this year, we do a candle lighting ceremony and we read the names of those who have passed away. And sadly, it's not a small number. Thus far this year, we're over 180 people. So it's a really sobering event. But thank you for that question. Any other questions?
Well, Marcus, before we take the next public comment, I just want to Thank you so much for your continued leadership on this. This is such an important event. I think each person that is a part of the continuum of care, we step up and stand up to try to be able to advocate on behalf of those that often don't have a voice. And this is so critical to be reminded of how many people without adequate resources die on the streets and how important our work is. So thank you so much, because I know you've done this for a number of years. We really appreciate the awareness that you're bringing to this important issue. So thank you.
Yeah.
Julie Hale, it looks like you have a question, comment, public comment?
Yeah, are you done, Marcus?
Yes, I was just going to say thank you, Karen, and wanted to make sure it's clear it's not a one-man band. Least credit of all goes to me, but the HWS team and the rest of the behavioral health staff really make this happen. So thanks, Julie.
Sure. I just wanted to step up and talk about our Shine a Light on Youth Homelessness that we are doing currently this month for the month of November. Operation Safe House has been trying to get to everybody that we can to have them wear green. If you have a building that you can light up somewhere in your district or downtown Riverside, we've been trying to get some buildings. We got the Moreno Valley M lit up earlier in the month, and we have First Congregational Church lit up. Tomorrow is the National Day of Wearing Green and Shining a Light on all the youth across the United States. It is a hashtag event, so if you could, maybe you guys do a Spirit Day tomorrow or throughout the rest of the month, and hashtag NRPM 2022, or tag us on social media showing what you're doing to shine a light on youth homelessness. We'd really appreciate the cooperation. And next year we're thinking about trying to make it a whole month. If we could get all of our other nonprofits to join in, maybe put a green light on your porch, wear green socks, wear a green hat, wear whatever, and tag us. We had a cancellation on the earlier meeting where we were going to present, so we were hoping to maybe get a little participation. If anybody has a great contact that they can get something downtown lit up, that'd be totally awesome, because tomorrow's the national movement. So they've got the Empire State Building lit up. They've got Niagara Falls lit up. They're going to have bridges lit up. So it'd be great if Riverside could get a few downtown areas lit up that we could take pictures of and hashtag and have them be put up on the National Runaway Prevention Safe Line, which is funded, through the government. So anyway, that's all. We're just looking for some cooperation on it. You guys can have a Spirit Day. I know we're running short on the month. We have Thanksgiving next week. So maybe within the next few days, you could get your employees or your staff to do something to participate with us.
Thank you so much. Such an important effort. We really appreciate all the wonderful things that you guys do, Julie.
Thank you.
Are there any other public comments? Okay, hearing none, let's go ahead and move to the next agenda item, Josh. Okay, Josh, I'm going to turn this over to you to talk about the 2022 Board of Governance nominee introductions.
Thank you so much, Karen. So as you all may know, we are looking to fill seats for our Continuum of Care Board of Governance for this year's election, which typically happens at the end of June, or at least that's when the new seats take effect. We did not have any nominees for one of the seats that you'll see. It's the private seat for faith-based organizations. And in that time as well, we also saw the resignation of 2 of our other Board of Governance members. So we decided to have another election for all 3 seats at the same time. Our timeline is a little shorter than usual, so I really do appreciate everybody's patience and awareness as we confirm nominations, receive nominations, and get ballots out. We did invite some of the Board of Governance nominees here today. Again, because we moved the CoC meeting back and we are working on a little bit of a more strict timeline, I know not everybody could make it, and we are still looking to confirm some nominations. So just a little disclaimer as we go through this. You may see when we distribute the ballots that there are other nominees or those that could not be here today. But for those of you who are here, we really, really do appreciate you. These Board of Governance nominees are going to introduce themselves, and we will look to get out the ballots before the end of the week this week. And in the email, when we distribute the ballots, we will let everybody know the due date for the ballots and effective seat of the new Board of Governance members. So we will start with the public sector seat for governments. This seat is to fill Sabby Jonathan's, the council member for City of Palm Desert. The seat expires in 2023, which is next year, because it is filling a seat that was previously occupied. So we will start with Brian Ambrose. I know Aaron Edwards could not be here today, so we'll start with Brian.
All right, I'm just turning my camera on. Give me 1 second. There we go. Good morning, everyone. Brian Ambrose. We did the bio a few months ago when there was another open seat, so I don't want to bore everybody, and God forbid you have to sit through another one of my little biography things here. But Brian Ambrose, I currently serve as the Director of Community Services at the City of Marietta. I got involved in homeless services in 2016. It was not a part of my background or education before that. But in the Southwest Riverside County region, prior to 2016, we did not have any homeless resources down here from the city, meaning our approach at that point was enforcement and sometimes calling county agencies to see if there were a place or a shelter we could bring people. That all changed in 2016. City of Marietta and Temecula began working together on homeless services. Since that time, all 5 of the cities in Southwest Riverside County have come up with their own homeless services programs. What's unique down here is City of Marietta in their police department has a 4-member team that's specially trained in homeless services. So it's not just enforcement, it's trying to provide services. There's 2 staff members here at the city, and we have a CBAT team. So that's a licensed clinical social worker riding with a specially trained police officer. What is unique in this region is City of Temecula also has a CBAT team, and we have mutual aid between the two and a great relationship. So when our team is tied up, we can call in their resources. Since 2016, we've done a great job down here regionally. I know the City of Marietta was awarded an emergency solutions grant where we now have full-time street outreach. We have a partnership with Project Touch that provides sheltering in Marietta, and we have case management, full-time case management. But we are starting to get inundated in terms of homeless activity. In the last 6 months, we've had 90 new unique clients just in Marietta. That's an astronomical number for the City of Marietta. But with that, through our sheltering with Project Touch as well as other resources, we've gotten 60% of those off the street that day that are still in some level of housing sustainability. We're real happy about that, and we have a lot of pride in that. In addition, City of Marietta applied for a congressionally directed appropriation. It's basically an old earmark that Congressman Ken Calvert advocated for us to start up a 5-city regional program. Monday was our first meeting with all of the city managers down here, and it looks like we're moving forward. We're going to hire a consultant and work on homelessness as a region rather than city siloed. So we've had a lot of progress since 2016 that we can point to that we're real prideful of again, that I'd like to bring to the Board of Governance. So with that, I'll turn it back to you and hopefully ask for the participants' support. So thanks, Josh.
Thank you so much, Brian. Nice to see you as always. Well said. Thank you for joining us today. And we will move to Mark Carnival. Are you here today, Mark? All right, so I can provide a little bit of background. So Mark was actually nominated by Sabby Jonathan, who is vacating the seat. He is a council member of the city of Cathedral City, which is adjacent to Palm Desert and in the same district as well. And Erin Edwards, she has also run for the seat previously, and she had introduced herself at a previous CoC meeting when we did the first election. And again, we'll be sending out biographies for those that could not make it today. So we'll move to the next seat, the private sector seat for faith-based organizations. This was the seat that we did not receive any nominations for in June. And so this is a full-term seat when elected for 3 years. And we will start with Anne of Project Touch.
Hi, good morning, and thank you, first of all, for having me. Before I talk about anything about myself or Project Touch, I just want to give a big kudos to Brian Ambrose. From governmental knowledge to in the trenches, personally taking people to telecare. I went out in the bushes with him one day. I'll probably never do that again. He's part Billy Goat. You couldn't get a better person to serve on the Board of Government. So that's just no bias, Brian, no bias. But yes, we have an outstanding working relationship with the city of Murrieta. We are thrilled and probably a little shocked at how many people we've actually been able to put through the shelter since we started this, almost going on 1.5 years, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But Project Touch, for those of you who don't know, stands for Together Our Unity Conquers Homelessness. It's bridging individual and collective bodies of faith together with the business and civil organizations to overcome homelessness and establish effective methods of homeless prevention. Our charity was founded in 2003, so it's actually almost 20 years now. I can't believe it. I feel older. We are busy. Business is booming, unfortunately. We have currently approximately 215 beds in the cities of Temecula, Murrieta, Wildemar, Elsinore. We have transitional housing, and we also have emergency beds other than the shelter that we do on our own. We've found tons of success by incorporating some of our emergency beds integrated in with our transitional housing. We see the much higher level of success with people being in the same environment of people that have actually been in their shoes and made it. So we've just seen a lot of people go from, homelessness or on the verge of homelessness back to self-sufficiency. Currently, we have about 70 plus children in our program. We've seen a huge impact with the economy and post-COVID on a lot of single mothers. It's alarming what numbers we're seeing there and the calls that we're getting. But we are, privately funded. We have a great partnership, like I say, with the city of Murrieta. I haven't typically pursued a lot of government funding. We have some great people throughout the community that loan to us to build. We own, I think, 2 fourplexes and 4 or 5 other houses, and then we master lease quite a few. We're getting ready to develop our 3-acre property in Wildemar, so hopefully that will open up quite a few more beds. And also by December 1st, we're taking on 2 more properties. So in December, we'll be up to about 230 beds, and once our Wildemar property, we're pushing up towards 300 range. So we're never bored here at Project Touch. We love to serve. We love to serve those in need and serve law enforcement around the clock. We've been doing that for well over 15 years, answering calls in the middle of the night down here between Temecula, Murrieta. I even get calls. I think my number gets passed around, so other law enforcement does get our number. We just like to serve wherever we can to help people that are helping those in need. So if I do get elected to this position, once I commit to something, I'm committed. I know that I've not been super actively involved in the CoC, but I would, if elected, I always put it in God's hands. Lord, if you don't want me to do it, don't let me get elected. If you want me to serve and help in any way that we can, I am more than happy to do so. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. Good to see all of you and just happy to serve wherever we can help.
Thank you so much, Anne. It's very nice to see you and meet you.
You as well.
And then we have another nominee for the private sector seat, Claire Jefferson Glipa of Family Promise of Riverside. Claire, are you here today?
Yes, I am. Good morning, everyone. My name is Claire Jefferson Glipa, proud Executive Director of Family Promise of Riverside, where we specifically serve families experiencing or on the verge of homelessness with children under the age of 18. We provide preventative services, housing, and then stabilization and full wraparound case management. I am new to the role. This is month 2, and I'm so excited to be able to serve my community, but I'm not new to Riverside. I grew up here in the IE, moved from LA when I was in high school with my parents, and I'm so happy that my kids have been educated here in Riverside. Personally, I bring passion and excitement and a heart to connect and collaborate with one another. I know in this space, the purpose of the continuum is for us to all work together to fix a problem that only the village can fix. It takes a village to raise a child, but more importantly, it takes a village to undo kind of the systemic harm that the systems of capitalism and racism have created in our community right here at home. And so I would be proud to help work to bring solutions to my community. Thank you so much for your consideration.
Thank you so much, Claire. Very much appreciate you being here and introducing yourself. All right, and then we do have one more seat that is up for election. Currently, there's only one nominee, and Jasmine de la Trinidad, if you're here today, please feel free to introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Jasmine de la Trinidad. I go to Moreno Valley College, and I've been in the foster system since 2012. I became homeless when I was 17 years old, and I still managed to go to school. This will be my 3rd year in college. Most of my resources came from my counselor, Lucy Razum. She helped me through my homeless and through my whole education. I actually graduated high school a year early, and I started at a young age college. And thanks to Lucy Razum, I'm here now. She gave me this opportunity to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jasmine. Thank you for joining us and accepting the nomination for the formerly homeless youth seat on the Board of Governance. And before we move on, just some final words. We're here. I know our CoC members and CoC staff, and we're always here to support our Board of Governance members too. And we really do value you so much, your input, and the things that you do, not only for the CoC and membership, but also the community at large. So thank you all so much. And with that, we will move to the next item.
Thank you, Josh. We're going to move to agenda item 5, new business. This is a spotlight on the City of Riverside System of Services and their anti-camping ordinance. And I had asked the City of Riverside to be spotlighted for a couple of reasons. All of us in the continuum of care are one big family, and we all have equal standing, and we all stand from different places. Some of us are in nonprofits, some of us are in cities, some of us are in county agencies, some of us are in education, some of us are members that are homeless and formerly homeless. And so it's important for us to each have a perspective of what other stakeholders do. And I thought it would be important for you all to have a perspective of what the City of Riverside is doing with their anti-camping ordinance. A lot of times people will think that anti-camping ordinances are bad and that local government is just trying to move our homeless neighbors out of their only place to live. And that is not the case. And you're going to hear from the City of Riverside about what their goals are for public safety and collaboration. And actually, they've been working collaboratively with the Western region, with the county agencies and the cities of Riverside and Jurupa Valley, Corona, Norco, Eastville, all working together to address one of the largest homeless encampments in the region, and that's in the Santa Ana riverbed. But aside from that, you know, as the chair, I've wanted to spotlight superstars in the continuum of care so that you could see a picture of the beautiful services that they're providing. And even the most important thing is the client success stories. So with that, I would like to turn it over to our lovely representatives from the city of Riverside. We have Larissa Villarreal and Michelle Davis. So take it away, ladies.
Thank you, Karen, for that nice introduction. And thank you to the CoC for giving us this opportunity to share the wildlands urban interface fire risks and kind of what our goals and our objectives are and how we're addressing it. And Larissa will be following up with the great work that the Office of Homeless Solutions and our partners are doing in our homeless programs and services. Josh, should I just say next slide and you'll slide through in advance?
Yes.
Okay,
sorry about that. On mute.
I appreciate it. Next slide. So I know a lot of people have probably heard about the Santa Ana River bottom, but I kind of wanted to give the opportunity to show the map and kind of show the different ownerships of the land within the Santa Ana River bottom, because a lot of times we hear that the city of Riverside owns all the land in the Santa Ana River bottom, and it's like, no, it's a collaboration effort. There are a lot of different owners within the Santa Ana River bottom, so we do work closely with the County of Riverside. We are also working with the City of Hoopa Valley, and then also the Riverside County Flood Control, and a big partner has been Riverside County Parks, who's been doing a lot of work with trying to help with programs, resources, enforcement, as well as trying to address some of the removal of species in the river bottom, so of our plant life. So the Santa Ana River bottom is one of the 3 largest wildland areas in the city that does run through the edge of the city of Riverside. I just talked about the different property owners. So next slide. Councilman member Edwards, Aaron Edwards, who is the council member for Ward 1, was presented with an issue that residents and business owners were facing, and it was a growing need in the city. We are seeing a growing number of individuals that have taken refuge in the Santa Ana River bottom, and there were more remote canyon areas within the city. So as more people, both housed and unsheltered, live within the high fire zones, the risk of the fire starting and causing harm and loss of life have also increased within those areas. Next slide. The unsheltered individuals are often reliant on fires for everyday survival activities, including cooking food and keeping warm. But these activities also increase the risk of nearby brush catching fire and rapidly spreading. Such individuals live in high fire zones, and they may miss emergency notifications and experiencing challenges in safely evacuating. There are several homes and businesses that are located along and near the Santa Ana River bottom, and any fire can jeopardize life, property, and even one's livelihood. These fires also pose a risk to our own safety personnel. In 2022, there have been 60 fires in the Santa Ana River bottom in the areas that are located just in Ward 1. Next slide. So to address the issue and the risk, Councilman Edwards put together a team to address the ongoing risks in the Santa Ana River bottom and the other wildland areas within the city. The amazing team that she put together included staff members from our city manager's office, our police department, our fire department, which also included our arson investigation team, code enforcement, our Office of Homeless Solutions, and most importantly was our information technology that was able to bring the ArcGIS mapping system to the table. The team worked closely to create maps that identified the issues and the risks and could tell the story of the dangers that residents and businesses are facing in and around the Santa Ana River bottom. Next slide. Oh, I'm sorry, the previous slide, the maps, can you go back one, Josh? Sorry. The map before you does show the wildland urban interface, which are the areas where structures and other human development meet or intermingle with our natural wildland vegetation. This makes the wildland urban interface a focal area for human environment conflicts such as wildland fires, habit, fragmentation, invasive species, and our biodiversity decline. Next slide. The Santa Ana River bottom has also been faced with potential flooding, which poses a risk to those residing in the area. The map before you shows the FEMA flood hazard areas, which includes the Santa Ana River bottom area. Next slide. There are times when individuals do not heed our emergency notifications and remain in the Santa Ana River bottom, and emergency personnel are called out to assist with rescue efforts, which is shown in the photo before you. Next slide. To identify the fire and flood risks in the wildland areas within the city, our information technology staff prepared the map on the slide that shows where encampments exist and then where we have fires that have occurred and where flooding could potentially occur. Next slide. So using the wildland urban interface map, the city attorney's office drafted an ordinance that prohibits camping within these designated areas within the city that are determined to be hazardous. Within the wildland urban interface and the FEMA flood areas, the fire history and encampment locations would be the causation factors used for enforcement. The methodology used identified for the concentration of high fire danger areas were in the Santa Ana River bottom, Whole Lake, and Sycamore Canyon. The draft ordinance was presented to our city council on August 2nd. Due to the responses we did receive on the draft ordinance, the city did make revisions to the ordinance, including replacing summary abatement, which summary abatement was the immediate removal of personal belongings within the Santa Ana or those areas. We changed it to just reflect abatement, which would require the city to post a 48-hour abatement notice. And if personal belongings are abated, they will be placed in a storage facility for up to 90 days where individuals could come and retrieve their belongings and then also receive outreach services upon obtaining their items. The revised ordinance was introduced back to City Council on September 20th, and the ordinance was adopted by our City Council on October 4th. And then the ordinance went into effect 30 days after that. So the adoption date, it went into effect on November 4th. Next slide. The city is in the process of installing fire hazard severity zones signs along the Santa Ana River bottom in the city, advising of no fires and no camping policy under the city's Riverside Municipal Code section 9.04.600. I want to give Larissa the opportunity to kind of share what the city is working on as it relates to homeless programs and resources, but also giving an overview of our public safety engagement team that is trying to balance community livability with the programs and resources we have to offer. And as you guys know, it is pretty windy out there today. So any fire that started in the Santa Ana River bottom can spread very quickly. So this ordinance will help us try to address some of those impacts. Larissa, I'll turn it over to you to talk about the city's homeless programs.
Thank you, Michelle, and thank you to the Continuum of Care for allowing us to present to you today. I'm Dr. Larissa Villarreal, the Officer of Homeless Solutions. So if you could go to the next slide, please. I want to go ahead and just highlight some of the amazing things that the Office of Homeless Solutions in the City of Riverside are offering. So the Hewlin campus offers an array of services. Specifically, the Riverside Access Center provides multiple resources and connections for individuals at risk of homelessness or currently experiencing homelessness. And some of the services that we offer include linkages to emergency shelters, the kennel. So as we know, many times folks that have pets are unwilling to accept shelter because the shelter doesn't receive pets. And so we want to make sure that we remove that barrier. So that kennel is really helpful to a lot of individuals. In addition to the kennel, we also offer life skills classes at the Access Center. The computer lab is available for folks to go in and research jobs. They can update their resumes, and they're able to use the telephones there as well to connect with and make appointments with their social workers or case managers. And of course, they're able to use the library that we have at the Access Center so that they could charge their phones and just relax. And so that's really important when it's really hot outside or cold like it is today. The team there will offer hygiene kits, snack packs, and the small but mighty outreach team that we have available at the Access Center. They come to work with open minds, patience, and awareness of their biases, which I think is really important when working with our target population. And so they are just willing to meet folks where they are so that they can address everyone's unique needs and create small attainable goals, right? And so they do this through motivational interviewing. And so they offer items like a trip back home to an individual's place of origin. They support folks with obtaining their California driver's license or ID. They make sure that individuals are comfortable and ready to sit down to complete a VI SPDAT, housing documents, and they they make those connections that are important for folks as well. So they'll do referrals. And so some of the referrals that filter through our Access Center are for our amazing partners, and some of them are on the line today, and that's Path of Life Ministries, Helping Hearts Illumination Foundation, The Place, and finally Mercy House, which is Bridge Housing. We're super excited. They're finally opening their doors next week, and we've been saying that for a couple of months now. But next week we will have 23 Bridge Housing beds available for folks. And what we're doing is we are prioritizing individuals from the Santa Ana River bottom who are ready, have a voucher in hand, or have been accepted and are just waiting for that lease signing or to find a unit. So we're really excited about that. So some of the activities that are going to be coming soon, and this is through our homelessness action plan, which was passed on October 11th. And Michelle, correct me if I'm wrong on that date, but I'm pretty sure it's October 11th that our plan was passed. And so some of the new activities that will be coming forward are monthly roundtable discussions. And so this started for us when we were creating the plan. I understand how important it is to really uplift the voice of individuals who are being impacted, right? And so for me, having individuals experiencing homelessness or those that have lived experience come together to discuss what the city is doing right and how we can improve is extremely important, because these are the folks that are going to interact with our activities. And if they're not happy with them, then they won't interact with what we want to roll out. And so we're going to continue these roundtable discussions monthly at the Access Center. And so I hope that we can get your buy-in as well. And please feel free to send individuals, and I can get that information out to everyone here. An RFP for a design and build of non-congregate emergency shelter with a minimum of 50 beds will close tomorrow. The space identified for this project is located at 670 Iowa Avenue, Riverside. So we're really excited about this opportunity as well. We also have our Parks and Neighborhood Specialists, or PANS, and they actually started a few months ago, but they provide safety and they monitor our parks and surrounding neighborhoods to engage folks and to make referrals to our outreach team. So that's really an important component of making those intentional connections to care. And finally, we have 689 affordable housing units in the pipeline. So way to go to Michelle Davis and her team. Next slide. Our success stories. So if you have a tissue, get it ready. Mr. Johnson, who you see here top left, he lived in the Santa Ana River bottom for over 2 decades. And so our team engaged him over several months, and we learned a lot about Mr. Johnson during that time. And he was happy to share with us that he has been sober for 14 years now. And so we're super happy for him and his accomplishments. And he is on a positive trajectory forward. So he worked diligently with the support of our Access Center outreach team, who walked alongside him during this process and really helped him to identify milestone goals. And he shared with us that he went through a divorce, and he suffered with substance use disorder, and that's what landed him in the river bottom for as many years as he was there. And so his story was highlighted on our social media pages, and his son, who lives in another state, and I always get choked up when I talk about this, found him. And so they were reconnected after a decade, and his son thought his father had passed away. So he found his family. He found out that he has a grandson. And so with the support of outreach, community, his friends, and now his family, he is just really excited about what's to come. So I sorry, I get choked up on that one. And so what you'll also see here, Mr. Greer, he was also a resident of the River Bottom. He lived there for almost 3 years, and he was engaged by our outreach teams, and they helped him to become document ready. He was extremely determined to find a unit. Every day he would jump on his bike and ride around and try to find viable options, and he would share those with his case manager. And so finally, we were able to place Mr. Greer in his home, and now he's excited to obtain employment and to cook meals for himself. Next slide, please. Miss Salinas. So some of the folks here on the call might see Miss Salinas and be like, gosh, she looks familiar. So she was living in the Santa Ana River Bottom for multiple years, and you'll see the top left picture where she is looking at her encampment, and she was really just terrified to leave that space. She needed an outreach worker who was patient and supportive, and she needed to cultivate a relationship before Miss Salinas felt comfortable enough to move forward. She said that for years she had worked with multiple agencies, and she said, and I quote, "Hi, Samantha, I'm sorry, but I've met others like you before. Everyone says they're going to help me, and look at me. I'm still here. I'm still homeless." So our outreach worker, Samantha, she understood what the barriers would be with Miss Salinas. And so she took her time, and she worked with Miss Salinas, who did, she was an advocate for herself, and she did great work. And she was able to get the documents that were needed to move forward in housing placement. And so we want to welcome Miss Salinas home. The Bellion family, which you'll see here on the right of your screen. This is 3 generations of individuals who are experiencing homelessness. It's grandma, mom, and grandson. And so for 8 years, mom and son were living in unstable housing situations, and grandma was living in the Santa Ana River Bottom for 6.5 years. And so the daughter, she was very diligent about getting all of their paperwork together. She was in direct contact with her case manager on a weekly basis, and together they were able to find a housing solution. And so we're extremely excited for them. The family is adjusting well, and they're really excited for the upcoming holidays and to decorate their home. Next slide, please. This is Mr. Morgan, and he was very hesitant to engage with our teams. And the reason for that is because Mr. Morgan was justice involved. And so, with a rapport that was built over time with our outreach team, he finally accepted services. And the Office of Homeless Solutions team worked with him closely to complete all of his necessary documents and to locate housing. And now Justin looks forward to obtaining employment and becoming self-sufficient. Now, the client, who will remain unnamed on the right, he agreed to share photos, but he didn't want us to share his name. He lost his father during COVID, and that's what landed him into homelessness. And so he was juggling being unhoused and trying to navigate his grief. And so our team was able to work with him and help him to process big changes that he was experiencing. And so he was housed just a couple of weeks ago, or a month ago now. And he is excited to come home and do simple tasks like wash his clothes and clean his home. And what he said, and I quote, is, "It's exhausting being homeless. I've never felt safe. This opportunity will allow for me to get back on my feet, and that is what I am looking forward to most," end quote. Next slide, please. So Michelle talked about the history of how we got to where we are. And so because of the history and Councilmember Edwards and her championing this project, we were able to create the Wildlands Urban Interface Public Safety and Engagement Team, or Wildlands PSET. And the different departments that make up this team are fire department, code enforcement, police officers, and outreach workers. And so today I'm actually conducting interviews for the outreach worker positions, and we're really excited to come together in this multidisciplinary team to implement the anti-camping ordinance for the citywide environmentally sensitive and hazardous lands. And Michelle went over the geographic information system mapping data. And so that's how we identified the areas where we will concentrate our efforts. And so the outreach workers that I said we will be hiring on soon, they will be trained in harm reduction, excuse me, motivational interviewing, basic outreach, and other human service trainings. And we're also going to offer that to the entire team. And so that is 2 fire captains, 5 code enforcement, and 16 police officers. And so we're hoping, and I'm always excited about this, that everyone kind of cross trains in this space and they could bring back to their specific departments the special culture that this team brings together. And so that's what really excites me about this. And you know, our fire department is already out in the field, and so they're rolling up their sleeves. They've met with Fish and Wildlife to obtain permits for cleanup. They've shadowed our urban PSET team, and they are tagging abandoned camps, and they provide highlights of their accomplishments weekly for us. So we're really excited to bring this team to fruition, and we are going to be intentional and mindful in the way that we approach individuals in the Santa Ana River bottom. So we do have a plan. We will be ensuring that our outreach team is formed before we go out and we start to enforce. And so we want to make sure that there's availability as far as beds, and that everyone is getting the support that they need, and that their unique situations are being addressed. Next slide, please. And so just creating transparency and opportunities to partner and grow together will contribute to a strong regional approach. So through the collaboration between the county and other entities, we're able to engage and provide services to folks in this space where the levee restoration project is currently taking place. And there are many successes there. And this is due primarily to the United Front that we brought. We work together to support and meet the needs of those most vulnerable. Additionally, the county MDT case conferencing is crucial in supporting individuals, and it allows us to understand their needs and work to meet them. So we appreciate being part of this team and a partner to you all. Next slide. That concludes our presentation, and Michelle and I are available for questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ladies. Before we open it up for questions, I think it's important for us, especially those of us that work in city government, to talk about the things that are sometimes hard to talk about, because we need to be transparent. And, you know, a lot of our advocates in the community need to understand that local government, especially cities, are constrained by Martin versus Boise. And when they proceed with anti-camping enforcement, they do have to comply with Martin versus Boise, which means that in order to enforce anti-camping laws, an available shelter bed must be offered. That doesn't mean a brochure that says, here's a brochure, good luck, find a bed. It means a real available bed. And so, you know, I know that Riverside complies with this, our city complies with this, cities across the county do that. But if there are folks in the continuum of care that aren't aware of that, it's important for you to know that local government must offer a real bed before anti-camping enforcement can proceed. Now, this particular ordinance has a little bit different of a nuance because it is in a high fire area. So, Michelle, I don't know if you want to explain what happens if for some reason you had, let's say, I don't know, 50, 100 people down there and you didn't have available beds, how you would address that.
So that's kind of like what we are doing in the Santa Ana River bottom right now. We've been working with folks for over the past year. So there would be a duration where we come in with the case management and the outreach staff to first engage, find out who's there, do a needs assessment, and then start, based on those needs assessment, we start bringing in our county partners and other partners within the community to see how we can connect them to other resources. And so that's what we've done at Whole Lake. We've done that in the Santa Ana River bottom. So as we find those areas where we do have those large encampments, that's kind of where we start. We don't go in and do heavy hitting enforcement. We go in and do the engagement first.
And I think that's important because I think that some people might have the impression that that is what is happening. And I wanted you all to know that's not what the city of Riverside is doing, and that it is a highly collaborative effort. And really all of us in local government need to be doing the same, because it cannot be illegal to exist, right? People have to have a place to live. And that's what we're trying to do, is to move forward with public safety for residents, businesses, but also for people that have no place to live. So you guys did a great job. I want to go ahead and turn the floor over to members of our Continuum of Care. Do you have any questions at all, or any comments about this amazing presentation that these two ladies just gave us? Okay, well, you guys did such a good job. You answered every question.
I'll just say, great job. Thank you so much. I appreciate all the review and the information. Awesome job.
Thank
you. Good job, ladies. All right, Josh, you want to go ahead and move on to the next agenda item? Okay, we have an exciting update on the HAP round 4. We're going to turn this over to Rashana.
Good morning, everyone. I know you expect to see Rashana. Hopefully you can see her little square on the screen, but I've agreed to help step in and support her with this presentation. We were going to briefly mention HAP round 3. I think Emma had included a slide so that I could just brief you on some of the latest happenings with that program. And instead of kind of splitting up my presentation in two, I just bumped up that presentation here. What I wanted to share with you is that on November 3rd, the governor of California, so Governor Newsom, released a statement announcing that he was going to be putting a hold on any future rounds of HAP, and specifically our HAP round 3 allocation, which is about $7 million for both the Continuum of Care and the County of Riverside. I believe the City of Riverside receives roughly about $6 million. Michelle, Larissa, you guys can correct me. And this news came in light of, or basically this news came about because the governor felt that the HAP goals that communities had submitted with their applications were not aggressive enough. And we worked to provide the Board of Governance with an update when this release came out, but wanted to make sure to also provide you with an update of what we know as of now. First and foremost, I wanted to share that when we prepared our HAP outcome goals, we worked very closely with a state contracted TA provider, Focus Strategies, who met with us, your CoC chairs, in addition to the City of Riverside collectively. And in the development of those goals, they encouraged us to set goals that were achievable because doing so would further increase our ability to meet those benchmarks, and in turn could play a huge factor in determining whether we would be eligible for additional bonus funding. So what you are going to hear from me today is that the goals that were set for HAP, specifically to address unsheltered homelessness, were set at 10% for a 3-year period, July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2024. When you compare these goals with our homeless action plan, which the Continuum of Care adopted in March of this year, you will actually see that they are not as ambitious enough. And again, that's as a result of the guidance that we received from the TA consultant. Our homeless action plan has very aggressive goals to address unsheltered homelessness with a reduction of 50% over the course of 5 years. So basically 10% for the next 5 years. And a lot of you were involved in the development of those plans. And, we at that time really talked about setting aggressive goals, recognizing that even if they weren't attainable, they really spoke to the vision and steps that we wanted to take to ensure that we were leveraging all resources to, create ends to homelessness. So what we know is that the governor is convening a meeting with specifically county and city leaders this Friday to discuss next steps. The state also communicated with us on Friday of last week that they still intend to make future HAP rounds available. So we were very relieved after initially hearing about the hold and not knowing if this meant the money was going to be retracted and used in a different way. So it was nice to get that confirmation that hopefully brings some comfort to you all, because I know I regularly receive updates from you asking, when will there be new funding opportunities to support, whether it's housing assistance programs, street outreach teams, emergency shelters. And we had put a hold on a local request for proposals for HAP as a result of the governor's news, but anticipate being able to reactivate that RFP in the next coming weeks, especially after we hear this Friday. So I just wanted to stop there and see if anybody had any questions regarding HAP round 3 before proceeding and providing updates on HAP round 4.
Looks like Greg and Michelle.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. If I can just add on to Tanya's, I just want to let the CoC know that Riverside County got on this right away. When we found out basically that Thursday morning, we were already in conversations with HCD about what this meant. Additionally, making sure they were aware of some of the advice we had received from technical assistance. Supervisor Washington took a lead role with a few other supervisors from across the state in conjunction with CSAC and communicating to the governor's office. We wanted to make it clear that we were more shocked and not mad at the governor's office. We understand the governor's frustration, but really wanted to highlight the way we've been able to leverage funds, and that really to emphasize how do we make sure that areas like ours, especially counties and CoCs like ours, that are doing amazing work in conjunction with partners like Riverside, the city of Riverside, which is one of the large 13, to make sure that that funding is not jeopardized by some under-reporting or basically under-metric setting that we agree was too low in some jurisdictions. So I really want to applaud Tanya and her staff for the work that they've done in initializing talking points for Supervisor Hewitt when he goes up on Friday, and making sure, again, that we're taking more of a proactive and not a combative approach. Additionally, I've been working with a group over the last few months from California Home on how we actually make HAP a permanent source of revenue, ideally on a 3-year rolling basis and upping the amount from $1 billion to $3 billion annually. We are getting positive feedback from organizations throughout the state on that. Overwhelmingly, the legislature likes HAP because of the flexibility and the ability that we're being able to partner and get that out the door. So again, thanks to staff. And just so you know, as a CoC, this county was one of the first on top of this to make sure that we benefit out of this.
Well, before we take Michelle's comment, Greg, I just wanted to acknowledge you before the whole continuum of care. We're so fortunate that because of all the experience that you had working for a board office and liaising with all the different board of supervisors and the governor's office and the legislature, I don't think everybody realizes how much you do behind the scenes working with the rest of the team at HWS. But I wanted to thank you and acknowledge you because you're doing amazing work in your new position. So thank you.
Thank you.
And Michelle? You're on mute, Michelle.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I second what Karen had, talked about. Greg, you being at the forefront and being able to quickly respond has been very helpful. The city of Riverside set to get 8.4 million, and so we're making sure that our goals are in line with the county. So I want to give a thank you to the HWS teams for anytime we have to quickly respond to the state, we always get in a quick meeting where we can brainstorm and applaud that the county and the cities our action plans are very ambitious. And so I think providing that feedback back to the state was very helpful as well. So thank you, we appreciate that.
And kudos to Riverside because you guys work hand in hand with the county and the continuum of care so that it looks seamless that we're one big team. And I think that does send a strong message for our whole region. So I know it's not always like that. So thank you for the collaboration. Any other comments or questions for Tanya and the team?
All right, then we'll move forward and jump into HAP round 4. We are getting ready to submit our application, which is due to the state November 29th. It really has been one application after another. And so again, we appreciate you guys working alongside of us and being a part of these discussions at these meetings and providing us with your feedback. We need it. What I wanted to share regarding HAP round 4 is that this is the first time that we are submitting an application without knowing what our allocation to Riverside County will be. It is very likely that the amounts that we receive will mirror HAP round 3. Of course, we would be excited to get an additional increase. The Continuum of Care received 4.2 million, and again, those fundings are going to be available through a local RFP in the next upcoming weeks. But what we wanted to at least provide, because this is a requirement in our state application, is that we indicate how we are going to be prioritizing funding. And what we did here was mirror what we had with HAP round 3, in which the highest allocation went to the delivery of permanent housing. So this funding can be used towards capital, so to build new housing units, hotel, motel conversions. It can also be used to pay for rental assistance, which you know as like tenant-based rental assistance or rapid rehousing. In the second bucket, you'll see that we put 20% towards operating subsidies. And this is what can be used to cover costs towards emergency shelters, navigation centers, and other types of supportive housing environments. There is a 19% set aside towards system support, and there was a larger discussion at the last Continuum of Care Board of Governance meeting. Some of our board members are here regarding this investment because it goes to support our homeless management information system and coordinated entry system. We know that while HAP is becoming a larger part of our Continuum of Care budget, there are other state and federal investments such as No Place Like Home, Home Key, the Emergency Solutions Grant, ARPA, and CARES funding as an example that have really been invested to create new affordable housing units and that designate set-asides towards homeless populations, which is good. We need more housing. And so to that end, right, we really need to make sure that we invest in our system infrastructure, in our CES and HMIS systems to scale those up. A lot of other communities, some of our neighboring ones, I won't call them out by name, but just knowing that it's our neighboring counties have not accelerated the rates in which they invest in these systems, and they're starting to see negative impacts, not being able to facilitate referrals or reach out to inquiries that are made has been the biggest challenge. The following set aside is towards street outreach at 14%. We know that we need to continue investing in providing teams that are on the ground and can meet people where they're at. But of course, without the magic ingredient, the magic tool of housing, they cannot be effective. 6% is service coordination, and those funds can be used primarily. What we had talked about were like workforce type of investments that, as an example, shelters could apply to onboard persons who help facilitate connections to that system of care. And then there's a 7% administrative cap for project monitoring, compliance, executing contracts, all those things that it takes to operate all of these projects. Again, we don't know the amounts, but this is the order of prioritization that we're recommending. Because we don't know the amounts yet, I think our plan is, as we always do, once those amounts are available, to schedule a meeting with the Board of Governance in which all of you guys would be invited to then finalize what these funding recommendations would be through a formal motion. And here I really want to pause. I'm excited, or eager is probably the better word, to see if you guys have any feedback.
Tanya, before we open up the floor, I just wanted to commend you and staff, because I know that you really took time to drill down on the details, and especially compare this to our regional homeless action plan, which is our guiding document for how we're supposed to be allocating resources. So I think that's important for everybody to know, that you were very thoughtful about that. And also, when it comes to system support, that is mandated by not only the feds, but the state. So it's very critical for us to make sure that we do comply with those requirements and have a robust system. So I just wanted to thank you guys, as I know you really took a lot of time to be thoughtful about these important percentage recommendations. So with that, do we have questions or comments from members of the Continuum of Care? The floor is open.
Because of time, it doesn't look like we have any questions, but I'll go quickly run through the other slides. I'm just going to take about 2 more minutes. If we can advance to the next slide, what I will say is that you're going to be presented with there's a lot of information on the slides. Our application to the state is not due until November 29th. So if you're like me, I'm a processor, my team knows I'm a processor. I like to take information, sleep on it, and then come back tomorrow. I'm going to have like 100 questions for you. So feel free to email us at coc@rivco.org. You can also email me directly if you have any comments or think that we should modify, any suggestions, all welcome. Please contact us. As part of our application, we are required to basically develop goals like we did for HAP round 3. What we did this time, which we did not do in round 3, is that we aligned each goal with our homeless action plan. So you're going to see next to each goal, each action area and strategy. I'm going to advance to the 2 to 3 main goals because of time that the state is really looking at, and really just provide an example of how we used our action plan to align with each strategy. But please, again, the application is not due until the 29th. We'd love to hear any feedback that you have. And so, Josh, if you advance to the next slide, outcome goal 1B is the big one that the governor referenced when he put the hold for round 3, which is focused on reducing the number of persons who experience unsheltered homelessness. In our homeless action plan, again, we have a goal of 50% over 5 years. Because the HAP plan is a 3-year plan, we basically considered, hey, in 3 years, we could reduce the goal or work towards reducing the goal by 30%, 10% each year. So that's the big one that I would definitely encourage you guys to give some thought, share your feedback. If you advance to the next slide, I remember Karen Roper referencing the number of people who experience homelessness for the first time. So you're newly homeless. In last year, we had 4,211 individuals who entered our system. This year, and again, in alignment with our homeless action plan, we're hoping to reduce that by 45%. And correction, that's over a 3-year period. And again, talking about aggressive goals in our 5-year action plan, we said we were going to reduce that 75% over that time period. If you advance to goal number 4, so 2 slides, Josh, one more. This one focuses on reducing the length of time persons remain homeless. This, I think, is huge, and I think one that we all need to pay attention to, right? From the time that persons are enrolled in street outreach or in emergency shelter, how many days is it taking from that point to get them connected to a permanent subsidy? I'm glad our emergency shelter operators are on the line, and I think what we would hear from them is if they had a housing unit for every single person available, this time would be reduced, you know, in half, or even quicker. So investments in housing production and in things like, you know, master leasing, which we're talking about, shared housing, which you guys are already beginning to practice, and you know, a couple of our providers have spoken to us about, are all huge. In our homeless action plan, we said we wanted to reduce that by 50%. Ambitious goal. I think Governor Newsom would, like, you know, give us a round of applause for setting that goal. We adjusted that here for a 3-year time period at 30%. So I encourage you guys to take a look at this, give us your feedback. And thank you again for your continued partnership and remaining with us as we meet these aggressive deadlines and obtain more funding to make a bigger difference in people's lives. We appreciate you. Thank you.
Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the next update. Okay, so before I turn it over to Laura for the point in time count, the one thing that I just wanted to emphasize on the update that Tanya gave us about HAP is all of those goals really reinforce how we can't achieve them unless we're all working together, because each of us plays different roles along the continuum. So we make up that system, and I'm just excited for the future to do everything that we can to achieve those goals. They are definitely stretch goals, Tanya. So, all right, let's go ahead and turn it over to Laura to talk about the 2023 homeless point in time count. Laura?
Thank you, Karen. Good morning, everyone. Yes, we are talking about PIT count once again. It seems to come around so quickly every year, and I just wanted to give you a couple of really quick updates in terms of how we are planning our PIT count for 2023. Thank you, Josh, for putting up the slides. Next slide, please. As some of you might know, we follow guidance from HUD in terms of the methodology that we use to implement the count. We did include the methodology for the 2023 count in the Google Drive for this meeting. HUD releases the notice for the 2023 homeless count recently, within the last couple of weeks. And the good news is that HUD is not asking us to make any changes in the way that we implement the count, which means that we will basically conduct the count exactly the way we did last year. There was one slight change in terms of age ranges in some of the data that we collect, but other than that, they don't have any additional changes. So if you have any feedback regarding the methodology we would like to follow for the PIT count, please reach out to us and let us know. The guide that HUD releases, we use to make sure that we're meeting the requirements, the HUD's minimum standards, and we would like also feedback from the continuum of care in anything that we do when it comes to the point in time count. So please take a couple of minutes to review that methodology. Next slide, please. We're hoping to share with you today the dates for many of the activities that happened during the point in time count. One of them is being the street-based homeless count. We have identified Wednesday, January 25th as the date of the count, from still a morning count from 5:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. We have that dedicated youth count as well, 3-day count from 2 to 8 p.m. We have a service-based count and an unincorporated non-city area count, as well as the new Come and Be Connected events for youth, which are kind of magnet events that we implemented last year. We piloted them last year. We learned a lot from them, and we feel that having those events during Pit Week can serve a dual purpose of identifying additional youth experiencing homelessness, as well as providing youth with resources, community resources. So we are definitely in our planning stage of the count, and we are doing this through our community planning meetings. So next slide, please, Josh. If you don't have this flyer, please let us know. We're happy to send it to you. This has the different dates. We've had our first meeting earlier this month. They are shorter meetings. In the past, as some of you may recall, we did work groups within these planning meetings, but we have found it to be a little bit difficult because of the virtual platform that we use. So we are setting up key meetings during the month as we lead into the pit count, and we will communicate these meetings with you as soon as we schedule them. So the next community planning meeting is December 1st from 3 to 4 p.m. We had a great turnout in November. We have a lot of our city leaders returning that have experience in how to conduct the count. So it's always great to see our partners come back, and we definitely have a lot of CoC members participating in planning. So we thank you for your time. Next slide, please. The youth count, once again, it's a dedicated youth count, and we are working on identifying our leaders for the count. As always, we use our youth action board to provide feedback and information about how to best implement the count. Monique Guerra is going to be leading the homeless youth count as a homeless youth coordinator. And then, of course, we always have our partner agencies that provide a lot of support, including Operation Safe House. We are looking for another lead agency to help us plan the youth count. So if you're interested, please let us know. And then, of course, we work with our Youth Advisory Committee, the CoC Youth Advisory Committee, and service providers to help us identify locations and plan an accurate 2023 count. Next slide, please. The initiative that we have been working on for the pit count is the More Than a Count initiative, and just really doing our best on the day of the count to identify agencies that can help provide immediate services to the vulnerable populations that we encounter during the count. For example, seniors. We've done counts in the past, and I always refer to this this particular family because it's so impactful. A veteran that was probably in his 50s and was unsheltered in the street with his 80-year-old mom. And so we were able to mobilize APS, Adult Protective Services, to go out and meet them and immediately get them into housing. So we definitely want to continue to plan this More Than a Count initiative. Once again, we will have meetings specific to these activities, and we will share with you the dates so that you can join us if you are interested in providing input. Next slide, please. As always, COVID-19, we don't know what COVID-19 is going to look like next year. Last year, as some of you may recall, we had to push the count to end of February because of COVID-19. So we are going to continue working with public health to make sure that not only our volunteers, but those that we engage during the count are safe. Right now, we are moving forward with a end of January count, and we will provide updates during our community planning meetings if that changes based on public health recommendations. So we do definitely have COVID-19 in the back of our minds. Hopefully, it won't affect the count, but we will keep you updated. Next slide, please. I think that's all. And then I just had a couple more quick announcements. One, in this meeting Google Drive, there is the survey questions that we used in 2022. Like I mentioned, HUD has not made any requests to change anything regarding the survey. Only expanding a range of ages in one of the questions. Please review it, give us your feedback, but always remember, we don't want the survey to be extra long. We don't want the survey to cause some of our individuals that we're interviewing to not finish the survey. But locally, we do have the ability to add any questions that we think would be relevant to Riverside County. And so we are also going to be having a survey development meeting, which we will share with you as well, and make sure that the questions are being asked in the best and most sensitive way, and get that survey done so that it'll be ready to use for 2023. And then one more, we are in the process of ordering our incentives. Every person we engage on the day of the count receives a pack, kind of our thank you to them for participating in the survey, and we may be needing some storage space to store the incentives, and it would be, the time frame would be probably like early December to about mid-January. So if any of your agencies have space that would be willing to let us use for these 2 months, we would greatly appreciate it. I'm going to put my name in the chat. If you have any leads or any ideas, we'd greatly appreciate it. I have one more. For those of you that are not familiar with the count and want to have an introduction to the count, we will be scheduling a PIT introductory kind of virtual meeting probably next week. So it talks about the how we implemented, why we implemented, when we implemented. Some of you are so familiar with the count, you don't need that, but for any new staff, we are going to be planning this introduction or orientation to PIT count. So we will let you know about that meeting as well. And thank you so much in advance for helping us plan the More Than a Count homeless point-in-time count in Riverside County. Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions or comments for Laura? Okay, well, Laura, for those that are new to the table, I just want to, because the rest of us we know, I want to acknowledge you. We're so fortunate. I said this in the meeting the other day, but having continuity with someone that's been involved in the count, tell everybody how many years you've done it in a row now.
This is my 5th PIT count.
Yes. Which is so helpful because you have the benefit of everything that we've done going back from, to year 1 through 5. And we're just so thankful. You're so gracious and always make the table seem so big and welcome for everybody. So thank you for all of your hard work.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, if we have no questions or comments, everybody's ready to dive into that point in time count. Let's go ahead and move it to the next agenda item. So I have a quick update. Our HWO staff have been giving updates, but as far for the unsheltered NOFO, but I'll just give a quick update in terms of what the Board of Governance did at the last meeting, which was on October the 13th. So just to back up, HWS, we had a really great opportunity that was unique to Riverside County. We had 2 parallel tracks for the Continuum of Care funds. One was the regular Continuum of Care funds that is based on a formula for our region. The other was a competition for the unsheltered NOFO. And the HWS staff did release an RFP, and it did close on September the 20th. And I believe they received about $19.8 million worth of requests. And the staff worked with an independent review committee, and that review committee process culminated in a recommendation of $14.1 million to the Board of Governance in different projects such as permanent supportive housing, rapid rehousing, coordinated entry, street outreach, and then joint transitional housing and rapid rehousing projects, and then planning set aside funds. And I'm pleased to report that the Board of Governance did approve the funding recommendations that staff presented to them on October the 13th. And the staff did a great job before the deadline, along with the other Continuum of Care application that was happening at the same time. They submitted the application to HUD on October the 20th. From what I understand, HUD will not be making any decision until sometime early next year, probably not before or around until March 2023. This is a national competition. There is no guarantee that we will get any of that funding. And I believe when the HWS staff talked to Joe Coletti, who's our consultant for the Southern California Continuums, he said we stand about a 33% chance of getting funded. So let's keep our fingers crossed that we're going to cross the finish line and get some or all of that money. So that is the Board of Governance update. So we can go on to the next agenda item, unless anybody has any questions. Do you have any questions about the BOG report? Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and move to agenda item 5.2, which is the CoC and the HMIS lead agency updates. And I believe Emma is going to give us an update.
Yes, good morning. Thank you. Josh, if you can advance the presentation, please. And so today I'm going to be updating you on a few items, the first of which is the encampment resolution funding. So before you have a slide which details some information regarding the encampment resolution funding. And I wanted to highlight that the application due date is not a typo. We actually submitted this application just about a year ago to the state of California. So Riverside County was not included in the first round of funding, but we were included and fully funded through what is being referred to as the look back disbursement of the encampment resolution funding. And we received our award letter on October 27th of 2022. So I just wanted to highlight that, it took a year for us to receive this award, and we're very excited about the award and the implementation of this project. Additionally, I wanted to highlight eligible applicants were local jurisdictions and Continuum of Cares only. So nonprofit organizations were not able to apply for this funding directly. It had to come through a local jurisdiction. The programmatic scope was very specific to one encampment site. As such, our application highlighted the work at the Santa Ana River Bottom, which is a longstanding collaborative that has been led by Supervisor Karen Spiegel and includes the cities of Riverside, Jurupa Valley, Eastvale, Norco, and Corona. Additionally, it includes Path of Life Ministries and CityNet as subs for several involved cities, and several county departments such as Parks, Animal Services, Public Health, Behavioral Health, Flood, and HWS, including the CoC staff and the Housing Authority staff. On the slide before you is a list of partners that were included in the application. And these partners submitted individual proposals covering their respective jurisdictions. We felt it important to note that the allocations that are listed before you were based on individual partner budgets submitted directly to the county. So we submitted everything as we received it, and the state fully funded all of our projects. And I'll just pause for a moment in case anyone has any questions regarding this information before I move forward. All righty, we can go ahead and advance. Okay, the next update involves PAD Mission and our landlord recruitment efforts. So PAD Mission is a landlord engagement and housing search assistance, which is a web-based platform that is specifically intended for homeless service organizations to manage landlord relationships and also to assist individuals and families in their housing search. So for Riverside County received a $100,000 grant from Anthem to support this initiative. This grant will cover a 3-year period and will include the onboarding of 2 temporary housing navigators, which will assist in launching this initiative. So some unique features of PAD mission include centralized landlord engagement and housing search, unlimited user accounts. Users will not have to pay an additional fee to access the site, nor to manage their individual profiles. It'll be a closed system configurable to allow different user types access and registration. So landlords can register as well as agencies or housing navigators that are looking for affordable housing units for their clients, or units where we already know landlords have agreed to accept vouchers or certain subsidies. So this will centralize the landlord relationships. It'll reduce housing search times, track performance with analytics and reports. So there is Google Analytics that's integrated within PAD Mission. So it allows us to pull a myriad of different metric points related to landlord engagement and just really an innumerable amount of different data points that we can look at. It's also highly configurable, so we can build it for our local model and our local housing programs and partners. So we are looking to launch this initiative in the coming year. So there will be more to come on this, but we just wanted to provide you an update and present the information to give you a preview of what's to come, so to speak. Josh, you can go ahead and, or I'll pause, sorry. I'll pause in case anybody has any questions or comments.
Well, I definitely had a question, but I want to make sure and see if there's anybody else in the continuum that had a question or a comment first. So I wanted to say this is like super duper exciting in so many ways. And I'm curious if the first stop that you will make is I know the Housing Authority has a huge portfolio of landlords. So all those landlords that are already accepting Section 8 vouchers, is that something that's going to be part of the inventory?
Yes, yes.
Great.
Any other questions or comments? All righty, Josh, go ahead and move on to the next slide. Okay, so this is sort of a fun little exercise that we want to do. Here at the CoC, we want to give ourselves a facelift. I think that our logo is great, but this is an opportunity to refresh it. And we'd like to hear from all of you on your preference for a logo. So before you have 3 unique logos to choose from, and we'd like for you to vote on which of the 3 logos you would like to implement as our new logo. I just want to note the gray behind each of the logos is really just there so that you could see the white writing. So it's not necessarily part of the logo itself. So just bear that in mind as you're looking at it. We dropped a link in the chat if you would like to fill out just a quick, it's a quick survey that just allows you to select which logo you prefer. And that information will be collected by one of our staff members. You don't have to do it right this moment. You can do it right this moment if you'd like. It's very, very fast and easy. However, if you'd like to do it later, that's fine. And please feel free to share as well. We will be sending out the link after the meeting, so that in a formal email to ask for feedback from everyone. Any questions or comments? Anybody absolutely hate the 3 that are here? Please let us know if you do.
Great.
Just a quick question. Am I the only one that can't access it? I'm getting an error message. Oh no, I'm not the only one.
Okay, we'll make sure to send the information in an email to everyone. So just look out for an email from us.
Thank you, Emma.
You're welcome. Josh, go ahead and advance. All right, so wanted to take this opportunity to provide some staffing updates. We have 2 new staff members that are joining the CoC team. Janet has actually been on our team as a temporary administrative services assistant in our contracts unit for about 6 months, and she has now joined our planning unit and will be the migrant families coordinator through our planning team. So Janet will be popping up on more meetings, and some of you will be interacting with her more than others. Please join me in congratulating her and welcoming her to our team. And next slide, Josh. And the second individual who will be joining our team is David Escobar. And David previously worked in our Community Action Partnership division, as well as our administrative division within Housing and Workforce Solutions. And David will be assuming the role of CoC coordinator. Josh has accepted the position of program specialist in our programs unit and will be taking on a new role within Housing and Workforce Solutions Continuum of Care. We're very excited for him. And as such, David will be stepping in to take over Josh's traditional responsibilities, in addition to some enhanced responsibilities, just more community outreach and working directly with our community partners to try to grow our CoC partner agencies and really promote the CoC countywide. So you will be seeing a lot of him in the near future. He is actually not on, unfortunately. Well, fortunately for him, he is on vacation, enjoying a vacation overseas in Spain, and so was not able to join us this meeting, but will be here at our next meeting. Next slide, please. And just a quick update, HMIS update. I don't have a slide for it, apologies, but just wanted to provide a quick update. HMIS is working currently with our contracts teams to secure additional Clarity user licenses. So we are actively working to increase our license capacity to expand the number of agencies that can have access to HMIS. Secondly, the LSA is here. Our annual longitudinal systems analysis is once again upon us, and we have operated, as we have operated in previous years, our HMIS team will be reaching out to you if updates or corrections need to be made. So please bear in mind that our team will be contacting either your team or you directly. Also, HMIS will be conducting a report workshop. We're very excited about this. This is sort of a new initiative that we have within the HMIS team, and they'll be covering the following reports: program roster report, program details, ESG CAPER, data quality, and agency user activity reports. And as with previous workshops, we will be sending out the date and time in anticipation of that, along with the HMIS flyer. So please just keep an eye out for that. If you do not, or I'm sorry, you don't need to sign up, you just need to join the meeting. So there won't be an RSVP needed. Once the email goes out, just feel free to add it to your calendar and join us for that particular meeting. So that concludes the update, the CoC updates and the HMIS updates. If anyone has any questions or comments, I will open the floor for that. Great, thank you.
Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the next agenda item. So agenda item 5.3, coordinated entry system lead agency updates. We have our lovely Myrell. Take the floor, Myrell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I will try to make this quick for the sake of time. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Myrell Cabazon, and I am the CS coordinator here with Behavioral Health's Home Connect program. Not too sure if we have the CES lead updates report, but something I did want to go ahead and mention with the report. The number of calls has not been on the report for the month of September and October. Our admin services supervisor has been in contact with IT and working with them to be able to obtain these reports, as we have been having issues with the system. Since we don't have the report up, and for the sake of time, I didn't pull it up myself either. But if there are any questions on the report, I believe Josh did go ahead and share it on the, oh, I think it's coming up right now. Awesome, cool. Thank you so much. So the data is pretty straightforward. Something I do want to highlight is that Home Connect has been actively adding these cities on the breakdown of consumers by city to ensure that we not only present accurate data for clients, but also to be able to monitor trends to see where more outreach efforts can possibly be coordinated in the future. Before moving on to CES updates, are there any questions regarding the data presented here today? I'm not hearing any. So for CES updates, we do not have too many. Home Connect staff has been working to move clients off of the community queue and match them to their current home connection referrals or programs that they have been successfully housed in. Home Connect is making great efforts to get off of the Excel by name list. Many of you may have seen an email come out from the Home Connect email, which has been recalled, but it was regarding the Excel by name list. The email, for those who may have missed it, was regarding the phase out of the by name list. We do understand that many agencies and their staff are not entirely familiar with clarity, and knowledge is probably very limited. We do hope by the end of the phase out or the time that the email is resent to agencies, that there will be at least a minimum of how-tos and or maybe a workflow attached to the email to help ease worries and concerns users may have. In addition to the workshops that Emma just announced, we do also hope to provide more formal clarity training, as I firsthand do understand that there are many different steps to clarity to ensure that the data entry is done correctly. As we move closer to the phase out, we do hope to provide an update regarding training and training dates. In addition to working with the community queue, Home Connect has been sending out many referrals to different housing providers, such as Hope 43 Grant, Vista Dorada, and still working with the St. Michael's referrals as well. Majority of the clients have been approved for St. Michael's and are pending move-in dates. We have been working also and connected Feed My Flock Ministries and Mercy House in hopes to obtain welcome baskets for St. Michael's clients as well. Lastly, Home Connect has been working to obtain different presenters for the CES community partnership meeting to assist all boots on ground staff and just staff in general to help build their resources and their resource toolkits when working with our hard to serve population. That does bring me to the end of our CES updates. Are there any questions that I can help answer? I do see a hand raised from Michelle.
Hey, Marielle, you mentioned a welcome home basket.
Yes.
Is there a flyer that's going around for those needs so that we can share it out?
Yes, I can go ahead and send it to Josh, and then I will further also send it out with the CES meeting minutes after Tuesday's meeting.
Perfect, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're going to be quick because we only have 3 minutes. So Greg, I know the next agenda item, I believe you have an update, housing resource update, so take it away.
Yeah, and I'll be really quick because I've got a hard stop at noon. I sent to Josh, and I don't know, Josh, if you sent it out, but basically a list of all the bills that passed with housing and stuff. What I'm doing now is I had a really good presentation at a SCAG conference yesterday that we'll refine and present right after the first of the year, both to the sub-policy and legislative committee, and then also to the CoC as a whole on the key, both budget allocations as well as the housing bills that passed. So that's all I have today, Madam Chair.
Great. Well, we'll definitely, thanks for sending that, and we'll make sure Josh gets it out to everybody. It's a great list and exciting times for the bills that have passed. So let's go ahead and move on to the next agenda item. I'm going to be quick here, so forgive me, guys. You'll see which committees had meetings, and you can access those reports in the Google Docs. So let's move to the next agenda item. We did not have any requests for letters of support this month, so nothing to report. Moving on to the next agenda item. In the Google Docs, you will see staff placed a whole series of annual performance reports on all of the different CFC funded agencies, so feel free to peruse those on progress. Next agenda item. If anybody has any requests or calls for agenda items for the next meeting, please let us know. You can mention it now or put it in the chat. We'd love to hear from you. Anybody? Okay, next agenda item. Any announcements before we close the meeting? Okay, wow, you guys, we're going to end exactly on time. We will adjourn the meeting, and also you will see at the bottom of the agenda additional meetings coming up for the Continuum of Care. Listen, I hope you all have a beautiful, lovely holiday. I know you'll be busy serving so many clients, but I also hope that you'll take time to take care of yourselves, spend time with family and friends, be refreshed and renewed. Appreciate you guys so much. Have a great rest of your day. That concludes our meeting.
Thank you, and thank you to Karen and Michelle. You guys are amazing chairs. We're so fortunate to be able to work alongside you, and you continue to keep us on track. So thank you, thank you. Have a good day, everyone.
Take care, everybody.
All right, family. All of y'all have a nice weekend. Be safe out there.
Love that energy, Charles. We are family. Thank you for that.